Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Brahma Miristriparan Takare. Banushashi Bamisito. Buddhasha Gurusha Shukra. Shani Rahu Keteva. Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu. Om Hrim Bhurya Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Tat Sat. Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of KozmicKev100, your weekly astro video zine, where we take the planets and the houses and the signs of the zodiac and make sense of them for you. Now, mostly in accordance with tropical astrology tradition, which is different than sidereal and Vedic, which we do get into a little bit on this show because I think it's important to show the planets as they actually appear in our night sky in a way that's more astronomically correct. And there are, some deep implications with that too. But as we do this, let's talk about what it's like right now. So, it's Friday, March 10th, 2023. And here in Northern California, we have had ourselves a fairly significantly cooler than usual winter than we've had. It wouldn't have been considered that significantly cool for the 1950s or 60s or even the 1970s, but or even the 80s. But over the last 35 years, we haven't had, or 30 years rather, I should say, we haven't had anything quite as significantly cool as we've had this winter on the West Coast. And especially coastal areas in Southern California. God, there was snow in Oxnard, there was on the beach, it's been several days since the snow got down to the valley. It was in Corning and in Red Bluff and Los Molinos, just north of Chico, and in the mountains all around Chico. You could walk to the snow in Upper Park in Chico. And there's still snow up there. And it's and here it is, a little later. But what we've got planetarily as far as the moon's in the constellation of Libra, and it's in the tropical sign of Libra today. And the lunar mansion that the moon's in is known as Shitra. Now, Shitra straddles half Virgo, half Libra. Shitra is ruled by Vashtar, the celestial architect, sometimes referred to as Vishvakarma. Shitra is ruled by Mars. And so there's a lot of harsh things and discipline and commitment that come with making a good Mars. And Mars' main purpose is to get rid of evil. Mahatma Gandhi had some Shitra in his chart. And he resisted a lot of hardship in order to bring a greater democracy and fairness to the people of India. And he experienced some of the unfairness in Africa, but he was raised in England and was formally educated and firsthand dealt with racism and discrimination. And so he brought about more human rights. And so, in praise to that. So Shitra, being the celestial architect, and it's a Venus day too, and moon's in Libra, so in both systems, at 4 in the afternoon today, Pacific time, the moon will go into Scorpio, in tropical Scorpio. But let's think about this, folks. Sun's in Pisces, moon's in Scorpio all weekend. With Sun in Pisces, that's going to bring a lot of harmony. Like, Scorpio moon's not necessarily a great moon, but when it's Sun's in Pisces, it's a great moon. Moon and Sun are going to be trying each other. So there's going to be this harmony this weekend, this invitation for emotional intimacy that we normally don't get. The Citra moon helps us to use our hardships like sand in an oyster, like the oyster pearl in an oyster. The pearl is its symbol. The sand in the ocean agitating that oyster turns it into a pearl. And so through our harsh experiences, we learn to shine, and that is the message of Citra. So as we go through today, there's something to be happy about. There's something creative. There's something artistic. There's something beautiful. And we can be more involved in bringing that beauty further. So, sign by sign, we're doing this. Beginning with you, Aries. So greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, you've got the advantage of having the two gurus in your first house. That's Venus and Jupiter. Jupiter brings us towards that higher spiritual truth and gets us to, celebrity and political leader and big business kind of status of, really large stuff. And Venus gives us that love and that nurturing in our everyday experiences. And the two together are considered powerhouses. Now Jupiter, Lord Brisapati, is known as Guru to the gods. So it's sort of like all the spiritual books, Tao Te Ching, Quran, the Bible, the Talmud, the Upanishads, the Vedas, they all have an association with Lord Brisapati, with Jupiter, with the Guru. And, but we associate Venus with Jesus and with Krishna. And because Venus can raise the dead. And Venus is also related to Vishnu, the preserver aspect of God. So these things together for you are working out. You've got a lot of good fortune right now, Aries, and this is the last week of the Sun being in the 12th house, Sun and Mercury in the 12th house, now Saturn's there in the 12th house. There's a little bit of a loss. There's a little bit of there's this intense karma that you've been trying to cleanse yourself from. But there's also been some grace. There's also been some good fortune at the same time. Well, hello, Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope. Now, the whole Uranus and Taurus thing that, took place in the mid-1930s to the early 1940s, it brought on fascism, but it didn't really bring it on by the majority of people wanting it. It was brought on by the majority of people being silent and just trying to not get in trouble and not taking a stand and standing up when they should have been standing up for the rights of others. We're in a very similar time. And no matter where you stand on the pandemic and everything, I think everyone knows by now that what we were told about the shots and everything isn't exactly true. It wasn't forthcoming. They didn't really know as much about this medicine that they were giving people as to what, we're learning constantly new things. And it was just sort of like, well, we're afraid, let's do something. That's one opinion. Some other opinions are that this was an experiment on human beings to see if they would cooperate. Some people say it's even more sinister, that there were things in the shot that helped people become less fertile or have future diseases. So it's hard to know any of it. But I do know this. I, in the last year, saw 13 friends die. Okay? Not all of them had the shot, and not all of them was that necessarily related to it. But it's just weird to have a whole bunch of deaths all at once, And it wasn't, it's different situations. A lot of it was cancer. And, but none of these people were super old, you know what I mean? None of them were in their 80s. So it just sort of makes me hesitate a little bit, and go, wow, okay, some unusual things happened this year. And Saturn in Saturn ruled signs has been difficult. Now that Saturn's going into Pisces and we're Jupiter ruled planet, hopefully there'll be a little bit more mercy. It might take a couple years, though, until it gets into sidereal Pisces that we really see that mercy. And now, for you, Taurus, it's about how do I stay stable? I'm in a social group. I want to preserve my social group. I want to preserve my standing with the people I'm with. I also want to be able to prepare for the future successfully. If food prices are going up, I want to be able to be prepared for it. Venus in your second house, your 12th house rather, Venus and Jupiter in the 12th house, you're in a good place for spiritual development. And I think there is some good karma, but there's also sort of this feeling like I'm losing my religion, I'm losing my love. What's going on with me that I could do something to help stabilize my life? Now, this weekend looks great. Moon's going into Scorpio. It's, there's going to be love and harmony and balance. And socially, I think you've been in a dry spell, you might just meet somebody that's going to rock your world. So it's not all gloom and doom or bad news. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. This is like the last week and a half of Mars being a couple weeks, last 2 weeks of Mars in Gemini. And it's been a long run, folks. It's been since late summer or something. Mars in Gemini, it gives us a sense of curiosity, and it gives us courage. Gemini has a lot of courage to investigate other information that's not popular. A Gemini might be more likely to say, well, we can't just call it a conspiracy theory. It's not, let's investigate it. Let's not just gloss over this. A lot of people just do that. Cut to the chase. This is what it says on my computer. What it says on your computer is likely to be corporately financed and has an agenda all its own now. So we're having to look at things in a very different place. And so we have to be somewhat dispassionate and not be too attached to our beliefs, because things are changing constantly. Every single day we get new information. And Gemini, you're so good at that. You know that. Now, Libra moon today, that's going to be great for you. Moon in Scorpio. I would say take it easy this weekend. Deal with household chores and work that needs to be done. That's really what's on the table. Otherwise, you could easily fall ill. Weather could be changing, and weather gets changing, from winter to spring. It's kind of an adjustment for the system. It's like, wait a minute, I needed more sleep, and I needed to stay warm, and now I need to be active, and, I'm not as worried about being as warm and such, So, a lot of things are stacked in your career life. So, really working on your career, especially over the next 2 years, is going to be super important for Geminis. All right. Greetings, Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope. So, Pisces time works really good for Cancer. And since you're like the other part of the trine, if, you've got Moon in Scorpio trining your Sun, you'll have Sun in Pisces trining your Sun. It's a good weekend to be a Cancer. This is good things are happening for you. Things should ease up for you. Most of the Pisces stuff is in your 9th house. So 9th house is about higher learning. 9th house is about travel. It's likely you might travel this weekend. Even 5th house can bring about travel. It's 3rd from the 3rd. It's going to make that wanderlust grow. And maybe something involving your children with Moon in the 5th house. So that's something to look at this weekend as well. But higher wisdom, or something maybe even involving your father, it's very family, and that's very Cancer, and they're air signs in Vedic. That's about karma. That's where we're wanting connection. Most of you Cancers are Geminis in Vedic, so you're also wanting karma and connection. So this is a week beginning with this weekend, we're really deepening our connection. And that you get more wisdom, you get more higher education this week. And there is, career-wise, you should be blessed. You should be things should be going good for you at work. And if not, make them good. All right. Greetings, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay. So what we're seeing here. Well, Pisces time is a difficult time to negotiate for Leo in general. And the reason why is that it's the 8th house. And the 8th house is a house where we don't have things under our own control. It's a house of transformation. It's a house of letting go. It's death. It's sex. It's other people's money, other people's property, our spouse's good fortune, our spouse's money sometimes. And so, and it's a moksha house. We're learning things spiritually. One of the hardest things for a Leo to do is to get help from other people in a lot of ways. Because there's a sense of pride in doing it yourself, but you have to kind of relax in that you'll do better if you ask for help. Now, on the good hand, though, too, you got Venus and Jupiter in your 9th house. So, like, if you're learning, if you're a student, teacher, that relationship should be good. Your relationship with your father, if it needed improving, this could be the time to improve that relationship. Moon in Scorpio's 4th house is about being home. It's about your mother, and maybe you're concerned about her and your relationship with her, and strengthening and deepening that would be really good right now. I think all in all, even though things might be a little topsy-turvy at work and social life, there might be, people in disputes, don't worry. It is going to get better. You just got to hang in there and do your best. And be impeccable with your words. And don't make any assumptions. And realize that it's not about you. Don't take anything personally. Greetings, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. So, Pisces is your partnership sign. And so this is like relationships. And Scorpio is about friendships and about siblings and neighbors. It's another house dealing with relationships. So this weekend for Virgo is relationship. And it's also a little bit about travel. It's also about transformation. It's also about, with Venus and Jupiter in the 8th house, it's like, how deep is your love? How deep can you take your love? And can you become a deeper person? Can you become somebody who's giving and just can let go and release and not attach to anything? In fact, we're really happier when we're not too attached to circumstances and things. We often get really worked up about stuff. And we can just, when we let go and just be present with where we're at and just go through where we're at, great things happen. New gifts happen. We get revived, and there is this sort of revival coming in your life, and you have this ability to inspire others, even if it is in a different way, and that you are seen as dynamic at work, and it's still that's going to pay off. All right. Greetings, Libra, and welcome to your horoscope. Well, it's nice starting off Friday with the moon in your 1st house. That is sweet. That brings about this sense that, it's a Venus day and moon is in Libra. It's going into Scorpio, so that's your 2nd house. So this weekend could be about making money. It could be about supporting family. It could be about having dental work or new glasses or dealing with your neck or face, something. That's part of it. Pisces, it's a time that makes, and a sign that makes it like harder for Libras to deal with their health. But you've got Venus in the 7th house right now, so relationship-wise, and Jupiter's there too. It seems like if you're a Libra right now, whether you're male or female or some other kind of gender, that your romantic life is probably going to be more fulfilled. It's probably going to be doing better right now. And the thing is, I want everyone to feel included, you know? Included, you know, we can't make up for the past, but we can be present with each other. And the way I would say it is, yeah, at one time the water got polluted, but rather than say, okay, we're going to just isolate polluted water and this is polluted, let's just like bring more fresh water till the pollution is almost nothing and it can't affect us. So let's all experience fresh water in our life, regardless of race, gender, or creed. You know, let's bring that freshness to each other and the freshness in our lives so that we all can be happy. Greetings, Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope. Man, everything's going good for Scorpio right now. This is your weekend, and this is where your creative energy is really flourishing. So, I mean, I would just do as many creative things as I possibly could. And also acts of service, of love and generosity with Venus and Jupiter in the 6th house. They're going to help your karma. They're going to make it so that, you know, when October comes around before Scorpio time, you'll be like, things aren't quite as falling apart. Actually, I'm doing really good. What a blessing it is to have experienced what I've experienced. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to say. So this weekend is about you. You're going to be fairly popular. You'll be, you know, and you partnership so well with Pisces and that kind of energy that things are going to be good. And I think that's, you know, there's some deep transformation. There might be a little bit of impatience and, you know, excitement. It's just like relax. The more you can relax and just be present, the better your whole life is going to be. Greetings, Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope. So, you've got this thing here where, you know, Mars is in the 7th house. So, in Western astrology, oftentimes 7th house can be open enemies, people that are openly hostile to you. I mean, it's kind of weird, but I think with Mars there, it's worth mentioning. I mean, have you brought hostility on yourself? Have you misread other people? Because I've seen that. I have a Sagittarius friend that really misread something once, so I wanted to have a discussion, but he's very, you know, convinced by the narrative of, I guess, the United States involvement in the Ukraine. It's just like jump to the chase. Back in the 60s and 70s, we used to have this saying, what if there was a war where nobody showed up? Yeah. And people could say, oh, you're just a dreamer, and that's not reality. But there's a point, you know, where you turn the other cheek. You don't... Someone who's not going to fight back is not as fun to fight. You know, and when we can disperse violence and try to get to what is your need, why are you doing this? Let's get to the needs of people rather than the greeds of people. Then we find a healing. Then we find a place where we're doing better. Pisces affects your personal life. Your love life and your life with your kids should be really good right now. Might be a lot dealing with parents or home projects. You know, kind of need to watch your health. You know, and this weekend I'd say lay low, you know, because Scorpio represents loss for you in a lot of ways. And you don't need any more loss right now. Greetings, Capricorn. It's all about timing. It's all about taking one step at a time. One foot in front of the other. And this is like the last week, I think, where we're going to have, for a little bit, Pluto's going to go on and off between Aquarius and Capricorn. They're both Saturn-ruled signs. So, I mean, there's transformation dealing with really hard issues. There's no question about it. That's going to continue, folks. And it doesn't take a genius prophet to go out in that way. One of the things, though, we're going to see is the power of water, containing water. We're going to see dams are going to be breaking and filling up with silt as Pluto is in Aquarius, because Aquarius represents reservoirs. It's the bearer of water, what holds water. So we're going to see breakdowns in different areas in the water sphere. Also Neptune and Pisces in both systems, that also dealing with water. Capricorn, water, go. There's a lot of things working on your personal life right now. Things involving siblings, things involving parents. Parents are good. Your home life, getting inspiration for your children, hoping that they don't get caught up in some kind of weird cult or some weird thing that they're doing to themselves. I mean, that's a big issue for you right now, and my heart goes out to you because I know, man, they're coming after the kids. You know, all these corporate entities. Oh, you better believe it. This is not a joke, and this is not an anti-anybody because I'm pro-everybody. But we need more love, and we need more tolerance, and we need to put needs before greeds. Greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Yeah, it's big changes on the horizon for you. And you're going to be getting a lot of insights. In a lot of ways, a lot of your messages, a lot of the things about you, things that are changing you, but your insights, you're going to be like the flavor of the month. People are going to be listening to you more. Pisces time, it's dealing with money, it's dealing with family patterns, and correcting those, dealing with issues of your mouth, your neck, your voice, your words, communication. You become a better communicator. You become a little bit more of a sweetheart this week with Venus and Jupiter in the third house. Home-wise, you know, there's just foundational and structural things that have to be worked out and made better. And you're more motivated to make public appearances with the moon in Scorpio this weekend, and also activate your creative power with Mars in the fifth house. All right. Well, greetings, Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, you are the flavor of the month, and we've only got a couple weeks left now of a little less than 2 weeks of Sun being in Pisces. Basically, we've got 10 more days till spring equinox. So it's a powerful time. These last 20 degrees of Pisces, what are we going to do with them? What is the fulfillment of our faith, the fulfillment of our belief system, the fulfillment of good fortune and compassion, of empathy, of imagination? All of these things that Pisces is known for. And it seems like financially you're doing really well. I mean, it might be a temptation to spend a little too much. Things have kind of slowed down, though, a little bit. You've probably noticed this. Now that Saturn's in Pisces, it's like, oh, wow, I've got to be more mature. I've got to step up. I can't just space out and say, oh, I'm a Pisces, so it's okay for me to forget. It doesn't really work that way, you know. It's like Pisces was a sign of dementia or Alzheimer's. Of course, that can even extend to almost Aries as being a baby, but Vedic Pisces, though, is very no mind in a lot of ways, too. And we will get into sidereal Pisces this week around the 13th or 14th, yeah. So by the 14th, we'll be out of sidereal Aquarius into sidereal Pisces. So it'll be Pisces both systems later on this week. So those spiritual themes will run really high. And I'm actually doing a special this week on death. You know, Pisces being related to the last sign of the zodiac, also related to death. So if you go to KZFR.org, Bohemian Express, early in the morning Pacific time, I think between like 6:15 and 6:45, I'll have a couple of people at a panel, and we're going to be talking about death and what happens after death. So you might want to check that out. And yeah, and you know, whether you're moving this week with Moon and Scorpio for Pisces, it's going to be great. You've got a lot of good things coming to you. And you know what? Thank you for coming to me. I appreciate you so much. Rebecca, Shant, Valerie, counting down the people, Grateful One, and Charlene, and so many others who pop up in my feed. I just want to say that all my viewers, I'm so grateful for you. Please subscribe, share, ring the bell notification. Love your comments. Keep them coming, and I'll be with you next week. Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat.